Hello everyone, Kyle from Deluxe Collectibles here, and today I'm going to be discussing some Lego Ninjago Dragons Rising characters that still need to get physical minifigures in the sets, and I've got 6 that I'm going to go through in this video, and be warned for potential spoilers regarding some of the details for these characters and their individual storylines. But without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, here we've got Euphrasia, one of the Riders of Destiny and also the new Elemental Master of Wind, now having been passed down from Moro, and I think it's so cool to introduce this character in Dragons Rising. Even though she was only featured in one episode, the Riders of Destiny, I think she is still really interesting, and even just from that Soul episode, she seemed really cool. I like seeing her journey to sort of embracing these powers that she'd been given, and I think we could definitely see some future appearances from her, which I think raises the chances of us potentially getting a minifigure from her, maybe even not in this particular outfit, but maybe in a different look as well. If she fully embraces this new title, then I think she could potentially change out of her Riders of Destiny outfit, so I think that could be cool. But just this version here is still awesome, so I would definitely love to see her get a physical minifigure. Next up here we've got Chef Grabbarg, a half-man, half-snail that cooks pies and of course goes up against Aaron in some of the episodes, in particular the Crossroads Carnival one, and I think he's just a cool and wacky character. Definitely would be a really unique mold that they would have to use. It would be something similar to like what they've done in themes like Video, where it's just very wacky looking, and I think that would be super cool and sort of throw a curveball into classic Ninjago designs. And a cool fun fact about this character is that they're actually voiced by Devin Mack, who is also the voice of Aaron, of course the main sort of protagonist for Dragons Rising, so I think that's really cool that they both share the same voice actor there, and it shows his range in talent. But this would definitely be a cool character and a really fun design. Next up here we've got Mr. Frohickey, a half-man, half-frog that lives in the Crossroads, and he is definitely a wacky character following in line with Grabbarg as well, just kind of like these sort of one-off characters that are there for a specific gag. And of course with him in particular, he is the judge of the pie eating contest and one of the people just in the Crossroads, and a great opportunity to get him in a future set would be if they made a Crossroads set. I think there's so many interesting characters in that location with sort of everything from Ninjago merging together. I think that would be cool to see him featured in a set like that, and even with Grabbarg as well, you could sort of throw a bunch of new characters in there, kind of similar to like in Prime Empire when we got the Gamers Market. It just gives you an opportunity to have some unique characters featured in a set, so something like that would be really interesting, and this would definitely make for a cool minifigure. Alrighty, now we have Creel here, one of the citizens of the Crossroads, and is also a mech racer as well, and works with a crew of whack rats also from Prime Empire, and is a bit of an antagonist in a way. It's sort of like a passive antagonist, but she is fairly heavily featured throughout Dragons Rising, I would say, and it has a really awesome design as well. I love the use of that Racer 7 hairpiece there in that coloring, her hat as well. I don't know how they would pull that off in the physical minifigure design, but I'm sure they could do something. I love as well like her coat also. I think that would be such cool printing on the torso, so definitely some cool stuff that you could do with this character. And a cool set idea as well would be like a mech racer thing where you've got some of the little mechs featured, and then you could even combine that with the mech that we already have, Sora's one from the first wave of Dragons Rising. So something, a sort of expansion like that, would be a great opportunity to feature this character. Now we've got Dr. Leroux, the head scientist of the Advanced Systems Lab for Imperium, and she is definitely a pretty menacing character with really no regard for the care of the dragons, just kind of throwing them to the side in favor of Imperium. So definitely a cool villain, and one that I think we're really missing from that first wave of Dragons Rising, considering she is quite prominently featured in the series, especially in some of the flashbacks that are key to Sora's story as well. So I definitely think think we could see her in a future set. A cool one that I don't know the likelihood of would be maybe a flashback set where we see a younger Sora, and then we see Dr. LaRoe sort of like working with her in the lab. I think that could be really interesting to see, or just an Imperium base. I think that's such a cool location that I feel like we're really missing in these sets, so it would definitely be nice to get like a villain's headquarters and then feature her in a set like that. So I think there's some really great opportunities to put her in some future sets for Dragons Rising. Okay, now finally here we have Dorama, who is a famous pyrotechnician and a showman in the Crossroads, and of course a fireworks magician of sorts, and honestly a character that I thought was going to be a one-off in the first episode they appeared in, but then they bring him back as a real threat, I would say, in Dragons Rising, so I did like that quite a bit. I love as well they have the perfect set already set up for them in the episode that he's featured in most prominently, with the giant samurai puppet that he's like puppeteering. I think that would be such a awesome set. It was such a like unnerving scene, but also so cool at the same time, so I think he would work great in something like that. Then you just include like maybe the conveyor belt that like Sora and Eren are running across to try to escape from like the flames and the traps that he has set up. So a lot of cool stuff that you could definitely do with this character, and I think he's just got a great design. It kind of balances that wackiness that you can see from Ninjago, but also like a genuinely cool looking villain design, and a really unique one at that. Of course, I love the lol mustache as well. Very, very evil and on point there, so definitely a character that I would love to see in a future Ninjago set. Okay, now that's going to conclude the video here for some of the missing Dragons Rising characters from the first wave of Ninjago sets for this season. I really hope we do get to see some of these as minifigures in the future at some point, no matter how we end up getting them. I really hope we do at some point, and let me know if I missed any characters. Of course, I tried to feature ones that would obviously fit as minifigures, so I didn't include ones like Lobo or characters like that where they don't really fit into, of course, a minifigure, but I still think they're characters that could be featured in a future set if they're prominent enough in the next part of Dragons Rising. So definitely some other cool ones that we could discuss in the future, but I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to leave it a like down below. Also comment as well what characters you'd most like to see in future Ninjago sets from Dragons Rising, and thank you so much. If you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe as well for future content. I will see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.